Hi, everyone. Today I have with me Laura Burford. Laura is a contributing author for the Mortgage Manager Mastery book, a book for sales leadership in the financial sector for new and experienced managers. Laura has written a great chapter, Mastering Leadership, a Growth Plan for Managers. Laura is SVP at Westgate Bank. Previously, she was with American National Bank and others. Laura, thanks for joining me today, and certainly I'm appreciative of you sharing your thoughts. So let's start out with the big idea that you want our readers to take away.
Thanks, Pat. I appreciate you having me and asking me to participate in the book. I think if I had to summarize the chapter, the one big idea or takeaway I would give is just to always keep learning, always keep
Mhm,
growing. You don't just get the title and the job and
mhm.
ta-da. It's something that you're always evolving as a leader, and it does take some effort and energy if you want to get better at it or be any good at it. So I'd say always learn and keep growing.
Well, they're words of wisdom, that's for sure. And certainly you're exactly right. So let's talk about an action step that the managers could take to implement that strategy.
There's probably a lot, but the one thing that I think most helped me or that propelled me, I would highly recommend would be investing in a coach. Leadership can be a lonely spot unless you have an amazing leader ahead of you that's helping you. Learning on your own is challenging. I mean, it can be done, and there's a lot of great leaders that are probably self-taught, but I found that actually using my own money, investing in a
Mhm.
coach that I could, just really open up to and get honest feedback. Paying someone to be honest with you and tell you what you really need to hear is a very good investment. And some people, maybe even employers would pay for that, but I two different times in my career hired a professional leadership coach and found that to be extremely helpful.
Well, as we talked about just before, when you do the surveys, it's only 10% in the industry actually do that. So that's great words of wisdom also. So talk about the next few years, a lot of changes going on, and what are the opportunities for managers that you see?
you know, I don't want to date myself, but I do think that things have changed and younger leaders coming up in the business have the benefit of just a cultural shift to being more authentic, being yourself, being a lot more open. Back in the day, and I've always worked in banks, but it was very much like the people that were in charge were like kind of stiff. They were wearing the suits, they were the smartest people with the most degrees. And it ended up that maybe they weren't always the best leaders. So I think there's kind of that stereotypes broken, and younger people who want to get into management, I think there's less rules anymore. It's a lot
Mhm.
more. Again, I think authentic is that word gets overused, but I do think people are very much encouraged to lead out of their true authentic self, and people are attracted to that. So that's kind of exciting to see that shift.
Well, that's also a good point, and you're exactly right for sure. So any other takeaways that you want to share with our listeners today?
As I kind of reread the chapter before we started the call, I think that something just important I want to convey is that leadership is not telling other people what they're doing wrong or what they need to do better.
Hmm.
I think it's really leading by example.
Hmm.
And if you want your people to grow and learn and do more, which you're leading, right? That's what you're supposed to do. If you want them to grow and learn and do more, you as a leader need to set the example by growing and learning and doing more. So, never stop learning, never stop looking for that next opportunity to become better and lead your people better.
Well, that's exactly right. I want to thank you for sharing your insights today, and certainly for our those watching today. If you'd like to take a deeper dive into Laura's chapter, certainly go to mortgagemanagermastery.com or Amazon to purchase the book. Thanks so much, Laura.
You bet. Thanks, Pat.